In this demo, I want to talk about Flexbox. So what we're going to do is start off with a starter pen. So I'm in CodePen, and if you go ahead and take a look at what I've got here, we'll just sort of scoot this over. I'll pull my CSS down, and then we can look at the HTML. So I've got just like a regular old header with an H1 in it, and then I have a section tag, and inside of it I've just got a bunch of divs, right? And the reason I'm not using like articles or something like that is that because of the nature of this demo, there's no semantic meaning in any of these divs. And I also have an empty class assigned to each div, which is not necessary right now if you don't want to have that, but it's already there if you're forking off of this. And if you use this later, you might be able to come in here and put a special class so that you can make some kind of special identifiers. So I went ahead and I put that in there, but just so you know, you don't necessarily have to have that. You could just have regular old div tag with, you know, just a number inside of it. And the number that's inside of it just is to help you understand the numbering system so that you can see kind of where these things are going to flexibly fall in the layout. All right, and then down here there's just a footer, and you see it says this is the footer. Okay, and then if you take a look at the CSS, what we've got is we've just got an @ import for a font so that it's not just regular old, you know, whatever, Arial or Times or something. And then in addition to that, I went ahead and I put box sizing of border box on all elements. So that's what this asterisk is. Remember, it's the wildcard that essentially styles all elements. Um, and for the body, I went ahead and I applied a zero margin and some padding. So that's what, if you look at this padding, that's what is setting everything off of the edge of the browser window, because I also went ahead and I collapsed the margin on the body to 0. So if I took this off, you'll notice like it just goes right up to the edge. Okay, so we'll just jump right back into allowing it to have padding. Later you might want to change that, but anyway. And then down here are some comments for the places where when we start doing some flex stuff, we'll start doing flex rules. So that's the basic setup of this file, right? And so the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and start with alternating colors for these rows. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll fork this, and I'm going to change the name of the pen to something like Flex02, and then I'll say, let's call it set up alternating colors. And I'm going to try as best I can to kind of really segment up these different pens so that we can fork a lot of them. And that way you can have discrete starting and stopping points so that if you wanted to go back and look at your work, you could kind of understand what the different departures were, and you can see your progress. So anyway, let's come down here, and I'm not going to put them in the flex rules because, you know, setting up the alternating row colors, it's not really about flex. It has nothing to do with that. So what I'll do is go ahead and set up a rule for all divs, because if you remember, if we take a look at what we've got here, and in fact, for right now, let's change our view so that we've got this, and we can see all of our content just a little bit better. I'll switch back in a minute, but that way we can actually see a little bit more of what we have. You'll notice that we've got all these divs. So I'm going to go ahead and create a rule for divs, and let's just go ahead and set the color. And so you can leave it the way it is, or you could, I'm going to make mine like a sort of a slightly grayer color. And the other thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and set it up so that the text align is in the center. So we'll do text align, and we'll do center, right? Okay, and then you see that it centers because a div is a block level element by default, so it's taking up the entire block. And if we want to give each of these things some padding around them so that they're not just like stacked right on top of each other, let's just go ahead and do like a padding of maybe 1em or something like that. Okay, and so now they're kind of separated from one another. All right, the other thing I want to do is I want to make alternating row colors. So I'm going to make the divs have a pseudo class, and we'll say of nth child, nth dash child, and then in parentheses we'll make these like even, let's say, and then we will give them background colors. Right, so we'll say background, and I'm just going to choose this kind of orange color. And the thing is that you could leave it like that if you wanted, but I'm going to go ahead and give the odd ones a background color too. And by the way, just so you know, this color that I grabbed, I did grab from here, so you can pick a color from here too. You don't have to know exactly what color, you know, that I'm using. It doesn't really matter as long as the color that you have is, you know, something that is not, you know, it's actually easy to read the numbers and so on, then you'll be okay. And so we'll go ahead and we'll do same thing. We'll do div and then colon, and make sure you don't put a space here, right? That's important. Otherwise, your pseudo class won't work. So, or your pseudo selector won't work. So we'll say nth child again, and this time we're going to go in here and we'll type odd. All right, so it's every other one that's odd. We'll give the background a different color. Let's make it like a blue color. And so now we have these alternating rows, all right? And so I think that's a good way to go. And I'm going to jump over here, and now that we've got this and we can kind of see this a little bit better, I'm going to jump back over here. And also because now you really know that there's not a whole lot going on here with these divs, and so I can pull this up. At this point, really, it's mostly going to be about the CSS. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to fork off into another one in the next video.